growth for me.
Hey!
Welcome to the Be Real Podcast. We are growing, giving ourselves grace and giving ourselves gratitude because this healing shit is not for the motherfucking week. Y'all see I ain't here by myself today. I got my friends with me because we're just changing up the content. I need to understand stuff from more than one perspective. So I'll let my friends introduce themselves. We'll start with Autumn. She got COVID, but we ain't gonna let that shit, well, she had COVID. We ain't gonna let that shit hold us back. So no excuses, all 2022.
Hey!
Hey y'all, my name's Autumn. So happy to be here, spreading love with you.
Okay.
Oh.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Am I supposed to say something else?
We don't know.
Tell me and prep me. I'm gonna have to start over.
Excuse her. Your turn.
My name is AshleyMarie. I'm extrovert by day, introvert by night.
Okay.
Your turn, Sharon.
I'm Atrion, and yeah.
Y'all ain't even say what y'all do though. Y'all
Like,
got
I
business.
mean, yeah, we do got businesses, but I just didn't know that.
Yes. She owns a shop and she has a boutique called Diva Couture. Go ahead and shop. It's in Kansas City and you online, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
534 True.
Okay. And you are a vision mapping coach.
Yes, I am. And now I'm a certified life coach as well.
Okay.
For AshleyMarie Coaching and Consulting. You can find me online at www.amariecoaching.com.
Okay, they got their music out here while they trying to play their stuff on this podcast. We're gonna be reaching so many people for them to be playing with themselves. Okay, so the topic of the day, y'all. I feel like just going into the new year, we just need to have it. Well, it is already the new year, but we need to like have a conversation with ourselves. Like, do you know your worth? Do you? And I want to have this conversation is because like some days I know my worth and some days I don't. And I needed my friend's perspective on it because I be feeling bad on the days that I don't know my worth because it'd be like the decisions I make. I'd be like, damn, why would you do that? You know?
Well, we are an evolving species. So, you know, you may have, I mean, there's times in your life where you didn't know your worth and you've evolved to know your worth. And I think we're creatures of habit. So we're working to change our patterns and our pace of life. And like, I mean, we backslide a little bit.
Yeah, I can feel that.
That's where personal forgiveness comes in.
Yeah, and that's big, like forgiving yourself when you do some shit you ain't supposed to do or you feel like you're not supposed to do. Like, how y'all feel about self-worth?
Me personally, I feel like you can know your worth and still do stuff where you like,
Right,
you ain't got no business doing that for real, but you still know your self-worth.
Uh-huh.
So
I don't
you
feel
can
like
know your
it
worth and
is
not
yeah.
operate in your worth.
Yeah.
That part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I feel that. Audience, how you feel?
I feel like that forgiveness thing, that grace thing is equitable to self-worth because if you know your worth, then you know that you're worthy to be forgiven, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more than sense. Yes.
Just because you backslide one time, that doesn't devalue who you are. That just, you know, is a part of who you are. So I think they're like the same. I think they're equitable. So if you don't give yourself grace, if you holding a lot of shame, you guilting yourself, then you don't really know how valuable you are to be forgiven.
Yeah.
That is a word, Autumn. That's why we needed
That
to
was
hear.
good.
That's why we needed to hear.
From the Zoom.
It feels like the worth is equated to value. But I like that word that you used, value, because it gives it just more of a little bit of, I don't know, weight and meaning to it. Like, do you know your self-value?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much you're worth? Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah. And I think it's like when she said that, it's kind of like when you give yourself grace, it puts you in a place where you're like, I don't have to be perfect, you know? Like, I don't have to beat myself up and feel like I gotta be perfect or like look for validation outside of myself, you know? Because a lot of times when I do beat myself up about self-worth, it would be like, this person wouldn't agree with what I'm doing. Or if the world seeing this, they're probably like, why the hell is she doing this? And they'll be like,
Well, that's a lot of pressure. What the
yeah.
hell?
But society, that's how it makes you feel. It makes you feel like, damn, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this, I'm supposed to be doing that, and if I do this, it's like, for example, if you twerk, niggas be like, oh, you a hoe. Like, damn, why can't I be having a good time?
It's a fucking exercise.
Yeah, but it's just like, I had to learn that I'm gonna do what the fuck I wanna do, what makes me happy, and I'm gonna still feel worthy in that, regardless of how you feel about it. That's your opinion, that's your belief, and I ain't got to change that shit.
Well, because now we're substituting what other people equate your worth to
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
self-worth. And I
Yeah,
think
and that's
it
why
can be hard
I
to.
feel like you should know who you are as a person. That's what comes in.
Yeah. Because when you don't know who the fuck you are, like anybody can come in and deteriorate.
They tell you who you are.
Yeah.
When you know who you are, can't nobody tell you who you are.
And I think it's important to have people around you that reinforce who you are when you kind of forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you backslide.
And that's where my friends are for me. Like they my solid individuals that help me to remember who I am.
Yeah.
And when I felt the most powerful, when I felt the most me. And I think that's so important.
I think your support system is everything. Like, cause I got my friends I call and be like, okay, I'm about to do something dumb, and they'll be like, okay. Like I called my friend the other day, like probably a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, I'm about to do this, and she was like, but is it worth it? Like, look how far you done came.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I love people like that in my life, because I wasn't even looking at it in my perspective. I was looking at it like,
In the now.
yeah, I was in the now. I was really thinking with my flesh. I wasn't thinking with,
Making impulsive decisions.
yeah. And I think that's just like big when it comes to self-worth. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's big that we having this conversation. It's big that like us as women like can say, I know my self-worth now, because it was times where I didn't know my self-worth. Like, do y'all have times where y'all be like, okay, I didn't have my self-worth, and like how did you like transform become the person that you are today, where you like, I know who the fuck I am, and I'm gonna stand in it. And when I do make a mistake, okay, I make a mistake, but so what? Like, I'm still worthy.
I just think about when I was younger. Like, I think I didn't know my self-worth for a long time, and that's why it showed up in decisions that I made in my life, like getting married at 18. If I had known my worth and I wasn't looking for a superhero or a savior on earth, then I likely wouldn't have made that decision. And for a long time, my worth was intertwined with what my marriage and my relationship looked like. So when that started to fall apart, I didn't know who the fuck I was, where the fuck I was going. I literally felt like I was gonna die. I felt like I was gonna die. Yes, it was my identity, and I felt like I wouldn't have ever left him if he hadn't left me. I'm so grateful that he left me, because then I was left with just me to figure out what I want.
Yeah.
And who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
You forgot, like.
And I love getting caught up in the men. I mean, it's easy for me to get caught up in the men, or anybody now, because now that I'm not like married or in a partnership, I found last year that I do that in my friendships. Like, I find a way to feel needed and like, feel close to people. But living by myself this year, I'm really figuring out, why do I need to be.
It's about knowing your self-worth or continuing to love yourself, is that we have attachments. And so sometimes when we lose an attachment to something, it could be something simple. It could be like a dude. It could be, I don't know, if you've been working at the grocery store for damn near 5 years and you're not doing that no more, you kind of have this shift of like, dang, that was so much a part of who I am, so who am I now? And so when you have these attachments and you lose them, I think it causes like this disruption in like, who am I? And so then you start second guessing yourself, second guessing like what your value is and who you are, who your essence is, because it's always changing sometimes. And so I think that just makes it really hard, which is why I understand how like AshleyMarie, for you, when you was in your marriage and you got outside of that marriage, you like, damn, who am I? Like, and like Atrion said, that's my whole identity, but that's just a big attachment that we have. It's hard to let those go. That's all I was gonna say. It's really hard to let those go.
I definitely agree. Like, I've always attached my identity to anybody that I've been with. Like, I've had to learn, like, with having a daughter, like, I didn't have identity outside of her. And I'm still learning it, because with anybody that I've dealt with, anybody that I love, it's always been Raven's, I'm such and such girlfriend, or I'm Raven's mama. And it's like, but who are you outside of them? And I think that just goes back to you when you were saying, like, get to know you. And when I get to know me, I'm like, okay, I don't like this, I don't like that. But it don't mean I gotta attach that to being this person's girlfriend or being this person's mama. Let me just be me, let me figure out me. Because then it's like when you do lose something, you like, all hell break loose. Like, even when I lost my job, I felt like I wasn't worthy. I'm like, who the hell do these people think to fire me? Like, you know, and my attachment was there because this is my first job that actually paid me well. And I was working from home, and so it was like, damn, am I worthy? But now God bless me with a better job. I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I'm not doing the same thing, but I got better pay and more. But it's like I had to really step into that. I know I'm worthy. I know I'm gonna get a good position. I know that God took me out of this place because He had something better for me. You know, it ain't always gotta be looked at as negative when we say like attaching ourselves to something or having to lose something or let go of something. 9 times out of 10 is for our own benefit, really.
And that's the balance, because everything that happens in our lives, I believe everything that we have is for good. The good, whether you see it now or later, is a reason. So this is the balance. That'll make it easy though.
I feel like attachment is okay as long as it's healthy.
Yeah.
Because it's normal.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, it is.
But then again, sometimes you gotta practice detachment from things.
You gotta
Because too much attachment, nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
But I think when I was super attached in an unhealthy way, it was because I hadn't had the opportunity to figure out who I was. I think you can have healthier attachment when you know more about who you are and kind of like a projection of what you want your life to look like. Because then you can put yourself in alignment with people and places and things that, you know.
Because you got your own life going on. So it's easier when both people got their own life going on and they come together, because it's not, oh, I'm so attached. And
I can't live without you.
I
can't live without you. You're from the phone. I'm blowing up your phone. Doing all that. It's just like, no. I know that's not the person that I want to be. I don't want to be that person no more. Like, I know that's the person that I've shown up as, but I don't want to be that person no more. I want to have a life outside of you. Like, allow me to miss you. I don't want to be with you every day, ride with you all day, every day. We ain't even got a chance to miss each other. Like, we're gonna be like, oh, tired of each other after 2 months. But like having that life outside of like where I don't feel like, oh, okay, he probably gonna feel some type of way if I go out with my friends, you know, or something like that.
I never liked it that though. Like, I'll see you later. We got things to do. Like, I don't want to be a meet my ass 24/7.
Yeah.
It makes me think of what are you producing? Because when I think about my time up under somebody, I mean, we producing an attachment.
And you can't focus all the way if you're always up somebody's ass. I feel like I need my space to think.
Yeah. Because y'all both got a purpose in the world, and it's like, how you gonna bring value to your life if you always up under this person? Like, no, we gotta look at we can look at attachments as negative, but it's a way that you can produce healthy attachments, like you were saying, and just have a sense of self outside of that person, whether it's your friend, your job, and then like if something goes wrong and y'all gotta like not be with each other, or like you gotta lose that job, it's kind of easier to detach because you have that like own sense of self.
Yes.
You thinking?
Yeah, I am. I really am. I'm thinking about just the word worth, and I'm thinking about the depths of that and what that means outside of everybody else and everything. Like, it's just the self-worth, being able to come back to the worthiness of yourself. I don't know. I'm over here trying to figure out what that looks like. What does self-worth for me look like outside of my nice apartment, my nice job, my boo thing, you know.
About that too, Avery. I was thinking, like, how do you truly define it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
If somebody was to say, "Who are you?" How would you define that?
Yeah.
Because we're all so multifaceted. We all have so many different attachments to things and all that. So, like, how do you define that? How do you define that? It's so hard to define that. So I don't know.
I think I'm saying the character too. God can take everything from you materialistically. Who are you outside of everything? What is your character like internally?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. That determines a lot about your self-worth.
I think that is so true, because when you ain't got nothing else, like who you show up as is everything. Like, that's your word.
I think that goes along when you by yourself too. Like, who do you show up as when nobody's looking around? Like, what kind of behaviors do you?
Are you evil? A lot of people that are evil, most of the time, don't know they self-worth. They mad at themselves. I feel like.
What kind of patterns do you engage in when you by yourself? Like, You know, how do you treat yourself? And like, what are your thoughts in your head about other people and everybody around? When you talked about character, that's what y'all made me think of.
Yeah. I think character, y'all should think about that, like character, what is your character? Because I was just talking about this, I think it was this morning, but just like, my character gonna take me places, ain't nothing else. Like, me just being dependable, me just being able to come through for somebody, and like, they know that, okay, I can depend on Raven for this, or Raven is gonna help this person and it's gonna be effective. Like, she's gonna bring value to this relationship or this coaching or whatever. If I do something like that, it's my character. It ain't gonna be the money I got, the car I got, the job I got. It's gonna be the person that I've shown them and how comfortable I've made them and how they trust me.
How you show up.
Yeah,
That's
how I show up.
Yes.
So it's like, damn, that's deep. Like, we really gotta work on that part of ourselves so we can, like, that can get us places that nothing else can, like networking, being around those people that got this type of character. But I feel like that's how you get to the place you want to be in life, is being that good person. Even though bad people get to good places, or we can say good places, but it's just like, that's deep. Like, my character is so much more than I thought of. Like, it's really like my foundation for my life, and that's deep.
Another thing I think of is flexibility. Like, with self-worth, you have to be flexible with yourself to allow yourself to evolve and change and try new things and fail at it. Fail, whatever that looks like.
Learn.
Learn. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good word.
That flexibility is so important, because we can be so have an idea of who we are, and then one life event can come in and alter your whole identity.
Yeah.
And so it's having that flexibility to know that I'm still worthy. And when Autumn was talking earlier about the kind of like the destination, like, how do you know your worth? Like, how do we define that? It's like, if we knew everything, or if we were perfect, what would be the point of the journey of life?
Yeah. I feel like it's always a continuous journey. I don't feel like it's no destination. I just feel like it's gonna always be a journey until God calls us home.
Always.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be something.
But I do think it's important to be rooted in something. Like, for me, I think since I had my daughter, that was a big, I guess, pivotal point in my life of detaching from who I used to be or who I thought I was, and becoming, or whatever this was gonna bring me. But over that time period, I really got into more with faith. And I think when you believe, you have to believe in something, or you'll fall for anything. So when you're rooted in something, whatever that looks like for you, when you're rooted in that, I think that'll always bring you back to your essence. And so in those times of, like, it's like almost like you're a tree. When the wind is blowing and leaves is falling and you swaying from side to side, you're still rooted in something, you still can come back to.
What are you rooted in? Oh, this is too
I think that's true.
And like I said, for me, that's like faith. And when I mean by faith, that's like God.
So,
like, outside of like my character, my personality traits, my behaviors, and my patterns, at the core of who I am is love, because that's what I was created by. So, like, for me, if I can bring myself back to that moment and that thought and that feeling, then I feel like I'll always be able to navigate what comes after, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And I don't know how you find that. I don't know how you find that, because it's not like no manual. And I know we got all these different techniques out here, like routines and all this stuff we can establish, but I don't know if there's like a rule book for how to find that. I guess you feel it when you feel it. I don't know, but that's how it works for me.
I feel like it's within you. Like you said, you had that pivotal moment within your life, and that made you like, okay, I need to get myself together. I need to like let go of this person that I thought I was and become who I need to be for my daughter or whatever. Like, I feel like that was the same thing also, but like everything that I became after I had my daughter, it was already within me. Like, my relationship with God was already within me, and my relationship don't look like other people's relationship with God. And people will be like, oh, they'll probably be like, oh, this is wrong, da, da, da. But what's right for me may not be right for you, Like, it may not, like, and I'm not telling you, you gotta have a relationship I got with God. But figure out what your relationship should look like with you and whoever you want it to look like with,
Right.
So it's like, I think it's always a thing, you gotta just feel it. You just gotta know. I just feel like I just knew like I needed to have a foundation with God. I needed to have that relationship with God. And now I talk to him like he my homie. I be like, me and him be talking like we best friends. Well, I be talking.
No, God is my best friend.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that likes to lead, so God is my go-to.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm like, I be cussing sometimes. I'm sorry, God. I ain't mean to cuss, but it just be like he already know what I'm going through. So it's just like I'm about to just give you all the raw and real anyway because you already know what I'm gonna say before I even say it. So
and that's what works for you. And it's so weird because the other day, yesterday, matter of fact, I had a moment where I was, the beautiful thing about social media is you can see people's highlights and journeys. And so people can share information about what works for them and you can tap into it and, maybe adopt that to your practice and stuff like that. And I had gotten to a point yesterday where I was feeling overwhelmed because I'm like, damn, these are all these different practices people are healing. And I had to stop and reflect, like, healing journeys cannot be compared, monopolized, or copied. And I think that's really important for people to understand because what somebody is doing for them to heal does not necessarily mean that's the same for you. And although they may share that with you and you may get in tune with it and you may practice it, that doesn't mean you have to take that on fully because it may not work for you. And just like you said, Ray, people may look at you and be like, well, that ain't how you do it. No, this is what's working for me and I'm feeling healed. So don't adopt it for yourself with that. And I think people need to understand that, that a part of the journey is figuring out what works for you and detaching yourself from trying to copy what other people are doing just because that's working for them. That you can't adopt what somebody else is doing for their lifestyle to you.
You gonna be disappointed.
yeah.
You gonna be disappointed.
Facts. Why isn't this working?
Yeah. You gonna start comparing yourself like, why did it work for them and it didn't work for me? Then when that comparison comes, it's just gonna be just
I've been there.
I think that's why I don't ask people for advice. I just do what works for me. If it works for me, I will do it.
Yeah.
I do what works for me.
Yeah, because it's like either way it go, even if I ask somebody and I'm trying to get into that space where it's like I just do what I want to do, and if I do some shit I ain't supposed to be doing, or something I need to learn from, then clearly I need to learn from it. But it's all I'm still experiencing, I'm still learning, I'm still becoming me, So it's just like if this person ain't have the time to ask somebody for advice, you probably ain't gonna listen. Like you literally be telling somebody will tell you like this probably ain't the best thing to do, but you already got your mind made up. I know with me, I be having my mind made up. I just be like,
yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's important to know when to tap into wise counsel. And when I say wise counsel, that could be whoever, is the wisest people in your life or, the people that you go to for advice. There are some things that you should not be, you should figure out for yourself. But I think in my life, it is important for me to know, if the stakes are high, I want to tap into my wise counsel. And it ain't a few. It can't be the Facebook and the social media. My wise counsel is not everybody.
Yeah.
But just having that discernment to know, okay, I need somebody to at least challenge this thought or maybe help. And that's what therapy is for me, helping me to see what I said and be like, is that really what I'm trying to adopt?
Yeah. Somebody to make you kind of think deeper and ask you questions that you're not asking yourself. I think that's why I'm invested in a life coach and going to therapy because they not gonna just tell me sometimes people tell you what you want to hear, or they won't ask the right questions, or they just tell you what they want to do. But I ain't gonna lie, my life coach and therapist will be asking me questions, and I'm like, damn.
Beating your brain.
Yeah, but it helps me understand how to solve it next time instead of somebody telling me, oh, this is what you should do. Now I know what questions to ask myself too. Be like, okay, should I do this? Is this aligning with who I am? Is this worthy of who I want to become or who I am already? I want somebody that's gonna show me how to solve my own problems because at the end of the day, I'm gonna only have me at the end of the day. I came in this world by myself, I'm gonna leave by myself. I got friends, I got family, but when life starts fucking hitting you and stuff, they're gonna be supportive, but they got their own shit going on. So I need to be able to know how to handle my own shit.
And normalize asking people before you dump all this shit.
Yes.
Are they in the space to hear all this? Sometimes people don't be in the space to hear that all the time.
I think in the last 2 years though, I didn't even think about that at all. Asking permission, I'm calling you to dump on me. Are you in the place to receive that? I never knew that was a thing, and I think, like you said, Atrion, that's something you definitely need to normalize, because people need to be in a position to really hear you, or you being considered of like what they got going on.
Yeah.
Another thing I was gonna say is like about like balance between like having wise counsel and not asking people for advice. I think if you have gotten to a space in your life where you make decisions based on your own discernment and you feel confident in them and can take the blow, then I think it is helpful to seek wise counsel. But if you haven't had good practice in like making this, like I'm a good person for that. Like I always am asking other people for advice on what I should do because I didn't feel confident in the decisions that I was going to make. So I had to practice not taking advice from other people or not leaning on their discernment to tap into my own. So I think you should practice, like, you know, not taking advice from other people or leaning on your own discernment until you get to a place where you can take your own blows, and then you can like really build up your counsel, because how can you build up a wise counsel if you don't even know what discernment looks like, if that makes sense? So I think once you practice that, you can know like who can be your counsel, so you can lean on for those like bigger decisions.
Yeah, that's why I'm digging. Investing in somebody that can help you. Invest in somebody that's already been there. Invest in, get that help, like if you need it.
Heavy on somebody that been there.
Yeah.
How can somebody tell you how to do something they never been
Yeah. Yeah, it's like invest. Don't be so scared to invest. But that goes back to knowing your worth. Like, okay, I know I'm worthy. I know I want this. So let me put my money where my mouth is. I want to like be this type of person. So let me invest. You know, so I can be who I want to be. And I think we gotta just stop looking at like we got it all figured out, because we don't.
That's big.
We don't at all.
That makes me think about when y'all talk about showing up for yourself, Ray. You talk about like investments. One thing I think is what helped me is I expected other people to show up for me in the smallest ways. And I'm gonna give a real basic example. A dude I was talking to, you know, I'm expecting him to do X, Y, and Z. One of the basic things is I wanted flowers. Why can't I take my own self to the store and give me flowers? So literally now, every week, it's a practice for me to go to the store, pick out my own flowers, and I enjoy arranging my little bouquet and stuff like that, setting it in my vase, in my house, and I say that example because that was like, instead of expecting other people to show up for you, show up for yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the small moments of investments. Investing in like your life coach, your mentor. Investing in those small things. You want somebody to buy you flowers? Buy yourself some flowers. You want to go on a date? Take yourself on a date.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. So showing up for yourself is big, and I think that's how you get closer to being able to sit with yourself and being able to love yourself, because you're showing up for yourself.
Yes.
I like how she put investments can be small as flowers.
Yes.
Because I think when we think of investment, we think of something that's like a heavy lift or like a heavy contribution, at least in my head. So I think I love that you made it more digestible. Like, you know, maybe you're not a girl like flowers, but you want a man to buy you chocolate, like whatever it is. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up, and maybe you have an idea of how you want to be loved, but you need to show up for yourself in addition to, you know, giving room for somebody else to show up for you.
Yeah.
That was good.
And that's it all, like, anyway, like if you at work and they not acknowledging how hard you've been working on a project, girl, go on Amazon, print you out the certificate, put it in your frame, put it up on your wall. I did that, you know. You can't put those expectations on somebody to do something for you that you want for yourself.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Like, loving on yourself is, and I'm learning, like, loving on myself, learning to love myself, and stop expecting somebody else to show up for me a certain way, and just showing up for me is like, it's hard for me, because I've always expected somebody to do, like, okay, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I do this and this and this and that for you. It's like, okay, well, take your energy away from doing all that for that person and put it into you.
Yeah. And
then you will be feeling way better, you know, and you'll probably attract the person that you want, the job that you deserve, and all that. You know, I feel like it all ties into work, and it's just like, damn, I'm 26. How are you?
I'm 30.
30.
23.
And it's like,
You're 23?
Yes, 23.
You better be a boss.
okay. And it's just like, I know, Audie, you're 26, aren't you? Yeah. It's like, bro, like, this road to get to where we are today has been like a long road, but it's been transformational. It's been beautiful. And it's like, but we still got so much to learn, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, damn. I can look back and be like, damn, Raven at 20 did not know her worth. Raven at 24 didn't know her worth. 25, there was so much stuff that I wasn't doing. That I feel like I was worthy. I didn't know my worth. I didn't. But I can embrace those moments where I didn't, because now I'm like, oh, okay, certain stuff I'm not dealing with. Yeah, I'm not dealing with. I needed to go through that stuff because now I know what I don't want. I know what I do deserve. You know, like, and sometimes we look at the bad stuff as like negative, but I want everybody try to like shift your mindset and be like, okay, I needed that to become who I am today.
Right.
I
always feel like that. Like, if that didn't happen then, I probably wouldn't even be in this position. I probably wouldn't have the drive that I had.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
It makes
the motivation.
I was thinking, and I think me and Autumn was talking about this a while ago, but it's like how, like we think, oh, well, if I had known that, then I wouldn't have made that decision. But like, if you're supposed to, you're gonna get where you're supposed to go. And so no matter if you took a different route, you're gonna still have to learn the same lessons. You're gonna end up where you're supposed to be.
Because it's already planned out anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's a disservice to think that it's just one way to get there for you to get there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the God that I serve does know that I'm multifaceted, and there's multiple ways to get to the destination. And I think that's another way to give yourself grace. Like, say you didn't show up in the way that you thought you should have showed up, and you thought it was going to yield one result. That's okay, because I know there's more than one way to get to my destination.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to keep the podcast short, but I want to talk about one more thing. I talk about one more thing. Like, okay, we talked about us like knowing our worth and all that, but like, I want to talk about the days where you don't. Like, I've seen like probably like 2 weeks ago, I've been like, I ain't gonna lie, this little fine nigga that got in my DMs, and I'm like, ooh, I'm trying to stay away from your type. But it was just something that I just didn't care. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna give him my number. We're just gonna do what it do. But I knew that I shouldn't have been engaging with this person because that's not what I desire no more. But I feel like I did it because it was like I really hadn't been talking to nobody. So it was kind of like that loneliness like creeping up on me and was feeling like, okay, maybe I just need to have somebody to talk to. So like that's been my biggest battle with my work, like not letting me not have nobody know. Like I'm so used to having a relationship, having somebody to talk to. Like me not having that right now can creep up on me in different areas, and I sometimes like lower my work just to have somebody for 5 minutes, 2 days, you know, or something like that. So that's my part of my work that I'm working on, because being lonely or being single is unfamiliar to me.
That's beautiful. I think for me on the days, I think just on my recent journey, I've been struggling with self-destruction. So like I literally can see the life that I'm supposed to have. I know I'm supposed to have a big life. My name's supposed to be a household name. I know this. But I've been looking at my patterns and my behaviors, and like when a good opportunity comes to me, somebody be in my inbox like, oh, I need a coach, why would I just sit there and look at the inbox? Why would I, like something will just halt me. Like, and so I've been working through like breaking through those, whatever, I'm creating a mountain. Like the mountain is me sometimes. And so the self-worth is like not creating the mountain for myself. Like, okay, we gotta make some action, because inaction, that's when I'm self-sabotaging. Like I show up I don't show up, and then I be feeling bad about myself.
Yeah.
But I know I have it. I just, something else is fucking with me.
Yeah.
So
something in there is making you feel like you're not worthy.
So how I've been working on that. I think that's what it is. Something's making me feel like I'm not worthy to be your coach.
Yeah.
Because I know my life, and I'll be struggling through my own life. But I have a gift to help other people to get through theirs. But I think sometimes I let me not being able to decipher what's going on with me overshadow my gift of being able to help others transform their lives.
Yeah, just because you gotta always have life. This don't happen, so it's like, dang, just because you a coach don't mean life ain't happening to you.
Girl, I had one girl who had saw me in the pit. I felt like I was in the pit, and she was helping me plan something. I had hired her for something, and then after we was done working with each other for three or 4 months, and she reached out to hire me as her coach, and I just was so baffled because I'm like, girl, you done seen me at my worst, and you think I can coach you?
You worried.
I know, but that's just something I'm working through. So I've been sitting with myself and like allowing just a couple of my friends in on that topic for me, so that they can kind of help me see myself, and then I'm working through it in therapy too. So
You gonna get through it. What about you?
I feel like for me, it's probably, I feel like I know my self-worth, but I do stuff and engage in certain situations, and they be like, what are you doing? You know better, but I feel like sometimes it be the thrill for me. And the thrill, and that's, it be the thrill.
I thrill off toxic shit sometimes.
It ain't even that you probably
Me.
thrill off toxic, it's just probably just a thrill like, I don't know, it's a rush sometimes.
Suspense, yeah, it's like, you get your adrenaline gets a
You like adventure.
I am adventurous. I don't like stuff to stay the same.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I feel like sometimes it be like a thrill.
well, I'm very different, so that's just nice to hear somebody else's
Are
perspective.
you?
I think I don't know very much about you, but I know a lot about Adam, and I do think like, you know, that adventure side, maybe that y'all seeking the thrill, that's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
You be seeking thrill.
Yeah. That's how I feel. Like, with the last situation, it was like a thrill to me. It's like, oh, yes, like, I can see myself doing some shit, like, different. Like, you know, it was just like,
It's not even bad all the time.
Yeah,
I know. Feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I need to feel.
yeah, it can be as simple as, like, we
I don't
just
know.
going to the store and spending some money because I just
never
want to,
mind.
it's a thrill, you know,
No.
like, or just,
I need excitement.
yeah, I don't like to be
need
bored
excitement.
either.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
often do you need that?
It just comes to me
No, I'm
sometimes.
just curious.
I don't know.
Cause I think I like calm. I be like,
I like,
calm.
don't get me wrong, I do like calm. I do. But at the same time, I need to have excitement, entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder if that comes with
I'm an extrovert. What is that called?
Extrovert?
Introvert. Yeah.
You're an introvert?
Both.
An ambivert. That's what I am too.
I'm both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same.
I'm mixed.
I think I am too, because I do like that thrill stuff. Like, I don't know about your thrill, but like sometimes I thrive off just being toxic sometimes, because it's a little fun. You know, it's like a little.
I can see it in
I'm really
Well, what's yours, Ivy?
I think mine's is kind of the opposite of yours, because you said it's so unfamiliar to me about like the loneliness and stuff. Mine is I'm too comfortable with the familiar. So these habits that I've created, you know, like just lazy, no, I wouldn't say bad habits, just habits that I've become too comfortable with. And I know they need to be broken in order for me to like push past that that stagnancy I got in my life right now. I'm just so comfortable and so familiar with them. It's like, dang, why do it? Why do it? And I know it sound like, girl, what? But
No, it don't.
Those are the narratives we feed ourselves though.
Yeah.
And I fed myself that narrative for so long that it became really familiar. So, and I think it kind of goes back to what Atrion was saying though. Like, I think I'm at a place now where I can confidently say I'm growing and knowing like my value, because again, for me, that's equitable to my creator. So it's more of like, dang, I know I'm worthy, but dang, I've been doing this for so long. That's really what it is for me. And I think we all get kind of stuck in that lull. And we want to climb out of that. And then sometimes it can just be hard. So I think that's for me what it is right now.
I think
kind of
that's
relate
a
to
good
that.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
familiar
good.
is definitely one for
And
me.
she said comfortable.
Comfortable, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, maybe that's why I ain't doing nothing
Girl,
comfortable.
let me tell you, I'm not like big on money or nothing like that. And I looked around my house and said, why, it's a shame that I can see myself being here for 5 more years. Ain't that crazy?
That you can see yourself being there.
somewhere else. But I was like, this is slick. I'm not in a good place if this is what it is. So yeah, I think for me that's really what it is, getting up out of that comfortability.
Yeah, I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, because I struggle being comfortable in a lot of places in my other life. But I say we're gonna try to keep it a little short. Look, we just want to try to understand. I want to try to get to know my friends more on a deeper level, because they're gonna be on the podcast more. This podcast is gonna be very deep. we gonna be getting paid off this podcast, okay? So I
know
wanted
that's
to,
right.
I wanted y'all to like get to know them and just get to see how we all are different in our own ways and see how y'all can connect with us on different levels. But my takeaway, I usually try to do a takeaways and just like a summary. So like we talked about you like having a community, like having that support system that helps you remember who you are. And then y'all help me out. Having that community. What else did you say?
Girl, something like if you could run that back, that's dope. That's a skill
I
set.
had it at the top of my
We talking
head.
about what work
That's the importance
is.
of value and work. We talked about grades, having a community,
Yeah.
raising yourself rather.
Yeah, and being grounded. We talked about being grounded. So like, well, if that's God or if that's whatever, like,
Showing up for
yeah.
yourself in a way that you would want other people to show up for you.
Yeah, don't be scared to invest in yourself in like little ways versus whether it's just flowers or it's just taking yourself out on a date. Like, let's just start showing up for ourselves. As always, please share the podcast so we can help impact others and help grow others and just like help them go on our journey with us, because we all on our own separate journeys and everybody going through that shit. So why not go through our journey with us while you going through your shit? You know. Share the podcast, tag your friends, all that. Follow my friends. I'm gonna have their links on Instagram and all that stuff in the YouTube or whatever, YouTube channel and everything. But as always, I love y'all and see y'all next week. Peace.